Hi, you are a species farmer too, even though you don't know it. I come from the Central Valley of Cali, the breadbasket of the world. My family had a pump business. They started the pump business in 1933. And that's like where the first pumps and stuff. And when I was a little kid, I'm running around. I became a fluid handling specialist, and like, how do we get the water to these plants right? How do we do it right? How do we grow it right? What do we have to do? What do we have to do? Well, I'm gonna give you that same feeling back but you can't think of our species as HU man, blah, connotation, detonation. That there's all kinds of, like, you count, but everybody has their own value of human, so don't even think that way, okay? Now I want you to think species, run with that. Look at it, and I'm going to give you the perspective, how we got here, how we started, how we got here, and where we're going to go, and so it's so easy. It's so easy. But first, you have to get ready. There's going to be an earthquake. Oh, I almost fell out of my tree. Well, I did. And I ended up on the plains. Africa, the Great Rift Zone. What happened was that our species, can't think human, no, okay. Our species was out on the plains under attack. Picked up a stick. You want some of me? You want some of me? And so the stick, gave us the upright walking. And then what happened was more of us were together and we had more free time. Because that's really what makes our species different, is that if our species, food, safety, and shelter should never be threatened because we have so much stuff. Because that's about growing our species, all right? Because we were good at getting stuff and doing things. And so our little societies group, and you know what drove the first calendars was agriculture. So I mean, we're all farmers. And that means that because the society, for society to be together, we have to supply food. And so when to plant, when to do it. And this is what the Sese calendar is. I'm playing around, huh? All right. It's a 364 countdown. This is the solstice. Longest day in the southern hemisphere. So that'll be September 21st, 2008, if you go G2. But that was last year, G1 year. And then there's an equinox. And then there's the top one. Look at it, you can point at it. And then an equinox, which is actually, because it's 364 countdown, this EQ is actually that, it's cars don't start at 1. It is here we go. This is you're in a queue. All right, so that, the ideal is what we're doing. I don't expect this year to turn off the power and measure it from space on G10, but G2, we'll find out. But I don't want to go into that. I'll save that for later. But here we are. This is the same calendar that the first societies used. Whoops. That's the first calendar, because we were out on the plains with hands made for trees. We picked up a stick and started doing, and we had free time. Our food safety and shelter was good. And then, as we got better and better, oh no, where's my notes? No, we had more and more free time. Our societies got bigger and bigger. And so the first calendars were all based on, how the sun feeds the plants. Moons don't have none to do with that. And that's what agriculture from the Central Valley and everybody does. And so now I got to go into the hijack. I know, that's why I got to. So in the first part here, I want you to know about when we first picked up the stick. That's your primal processor. the processors in you and me, we wouldn't be here. We're extensions of it. All right, and now we're going to go to the ABC processor, which is what happened was because we have so much free time, we're so good at food safety and shelter, we were able to create symbols. Okay, and then these symbols we traded in for that, you know, like that we became farmers of the symbols instead of farmers of the life we are. I know it's kind of sad, you know, but it's gonna snow on the parade. Anyway, you know, the symbols, it was able, you know, and so what they were able to do is they figured out the language obedience came on, and before you knew it, it's like, you know, your societies got bigger and bigger. You had to do things, and so you needed something to keep everybody on time and in place. And so, but the thing was, is that, you know, that they didn't have the science for nothing, but they were hackers of the humans. With, you know, like you take all the whole Catholic Church, and they were like hackers of the humans with alphabetic technology. The first hackers, all right? Well, you know, and so what they did is they hacked so well, they moved us from the Sese calendar, all right, to a human-generated calendar with language obedience. It's, I mean, it's, it happened, and it's good. I mean, look, we wouldn't be where we are today if they didn't do it. I mean, it's cool. That, I mean, because, I mean, we have more free time. We're better. Okay, and so the main thing that they hacked us with was a forced language install and the install of the ABC processor 2. All right, that goes on the autopilot of my primal. All right, and so, you know, that primal gets hijacked because it's like, you know, I write tree and you read tree, you don't see tree. It's like your eyes are under a spell, an ABC spell. Well, that ABC processor 2, that now you're aware. Okay, and here we go all the way back. So, let me get this focused in again. So the first calendars, let's just sum all this up real quick. The first calendars were all totally Sese. I mean, you could go wherever you live on the earth, and you could mark a line in the ground. You know, line it up. You can tell where sun comes up, sun goes down, comes up. You mark that. Pretty soon, you know, to 3 years, you know exactly when, you know, the equinox is. You know exactly when the solstice is. You know, you just figure it out yourself. That's all done, and that gets the kids looking. And we start over every year. And so here, this is year, ends up being, you know, G10 is a countdown to there. It's like computer versioning. I look at all the blah, 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 and, you know, you got deers flying and eggs being laid by rabbits. No. We're growing precise children. And that brings me to the end of this video. Where I'm working on right now is that this is a business benefit. Before I tried doing gTimers, and it was kind of hard. It was hard because I couldn't, you know, system design it properly. And so that's why I created OS called Open Source Child Adult Logic Dichotomy. If farmers grew children like adults grow children, farmers would grow children on their heads, feet in the air, and living for the dead. Every farmer of the Central Valley is living the dichotomy. Every coder of the Central Valley is living the dichotomy. Do you know that we're using, you know, if you use language based on, you know, computer science came from English. And so we use language based on science and stuff. And so I'm like in the middle between the farmers and the coders. and so we just, you know, we put this in as a versioning, systematic versioning for the rest of the, you know, the rest will take care of itself. You know, but here's what I'm doing right now is that, yeah, I got to have the business side. So the benefit side is gTimers. All right. And in coding, it's like dog fooding. We eat our own dog food. You know, and that, well, and here we eat our own dog food, earth dog food, and give it away for free to the God food eaters with the Middle East on a basketball language install, you know, hijacked by a Gregorian calendar that lost their ag. They lost their farmers. We're all farmers. But the best farmers are here in the Central Valley. And it's, you know, and this is, I know we can let better people out of prison that are on the outside today. And, you know, I'm not going to go into that right now. That is part of the project. And so that is, you know, I have all these tools. And finally, you know, this is day 40. And so that means that we're counting down and like to zero. And all I want by the first of this, by the Equinox is just to be able to have the business so that I can grow the rest of it. I system designed it. I'm worthy of it. And so the business side is OS called, so we take out all of that, but we grow the benefit side. You know, the God, you know, that these people, like, they don't know. They don't know they're living lies and stuff. And so help me, friends. There's a link down there. I'll have more concise with cards and all the professional things. I think I'm more professional, don't you? So the history of the calendar. And the processors. You're using processor number 3 right now. I mean, you're one processor U. If you're like, you got the ABC one, if it's not controlled, and then you have your primal processor, and then you're processing the future. We gotta stop eating Earth God food. I mean, God food eaters. It's spelled backwards. It's backwards. And so they just don't know. They're doofus. They have a behavior opposite, like Ruffy Doofus. Come, Ruff. He run the other way. And they go, get Ruff. You come running. And so that's what we're doing. And so, no, we're just doing the right thing. Imagine, you know, this is the Q. A car doesn't start as 1. A car don't start at 1. A car starts at 0. Q. Every year, we put our species into the queue. And there's no, this is a forced language install. This is a growth-based language install. We grow them. This is all forced. It's all force. Growth. We're back to the first calendar. And it's a one-time trip. And, you know, I gave you a whole scope of history. And so I didn't bring this up to them. Personally, it keeps coming to mind, is that there's only one benefit that could be surpassed in the scope of history, and that's the capture of fire. And I think if we don't gTime, which is 2 classes a time, that was, you know, I've known that a long time. I've done this a long time. That's 2 classes a time, meaning that, you know, here's the time we made up the BlahBlah land, and then the physical world that we're made to process with our processor. And so that's what the third processor does. One processor, you know, it processes the 2 other, you know, this is our physical world with the primal, and then we have our technology, and then, you know, 3 processors are the future. And so we have to feed that to the God food eaters and stuff. And I know we can do it. The 40-day countdown, yeah, because if you do the math, 364 divided by 4, yeah, this trip, it's like 9-1. And so this is a Q day. All the adjustments can be made, but give the future a timepiece. Let's do the future's timepiece. The future's timepiece. We're not going to put a bunch of constraints on it. This is all there. This is all made up. The language obedience. No constraints. Based on the real world as farmers would grow life. Okay? And I'll do my best. That's all. That's so we could grow. Grow. And we ought to look to the earth. I think there's a problem. You just gotta snow again. I want it to snow once really good. Cottonwood. Alright guys, I love you. Oh man, what a trip. Little kid wondering how plants grow, serving the farmers. Oh. come all the way back around. Farmers, save humanity. I love you guys. Central Valley, Cali. Fate of humanity on your back. It's snowing in the summer. What's going on then? Love you all. Whoa. Whoa, it's an earthquake again! The rift zone! Oh no! The alphabetic technology calendar! Oh, whoa, that's even, whoa, that's where I live. That's like that. And then, hi. See, use your eyes, see, farm.